Welcome to Inside the Majors, the Swedish edition. This episode, I caught up with the two title protagonists for the Atlantic Pro Division ahead of the final race, being Formula Majors. Oscar Fredriksson and Jesper Eriksson have demonstrated themselves to be a couple of very rapid and consistent sim racers heralding from Sweden in their debut Majors campaigns this year. So it was great to hear a bit about how their season has gone. Before that, though, we've got some exciting bits of housekeeping to address. So Commodore Mike will jump on here shortly to give us the first of a series of announcements regarding 2025 that'll be coming out over the next few podcasts and chat about some of the other changes going on for the series. So let's hit the go-go button and get into it. Hi everyone, just interrupting myself here for a minute to remind all Major Series and MEC members that our fantastic partners over at Sudspeed are offering anyone using the code MAJORS not only a 10% discount on anything from their range of sim racing gloves, socks and shirts, but they'll also be donating a further 10% of all sales under that code back to Major Series charities for 2025. So it's a win-win for you and our charities. Jump on over to sudspeed.com and check out their gear, especially the new range of glove designs recently released, as well as now stocking XXL gloves, which for the larger sim racer like myself, it's a great addition and one that I'm already enjoying. Remember the code MAJORS at checkout and enjoy getting your hands into some Sudspeed mittens. Sim racing gloves for sim racers by sim racers. Now, back to the podcast. So I have Mike here with me. Thank you, Mike, for joining us for the podcast today. It's been a few episodes since you were on, so we've missed you. But yeah, thanks for coming on to have a chat about a couple of things, a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of dangling of the carrot for 2025. So yeah, thanks for coming on. And yeah, let's have a chat about some things for next year.
Oh, good.
So first up, and probably the biggest little carrot that we're going to drop out today, scheduling and time zones for next year.
Yep.
Little bit of a change from what we've had this year, which is obviously different from what we've had in previous years as well. But what can you tell us about what we might expect from a regions and time zone perspective in 2025 for the Major Series?
Yeah. So as you alluded to, we've got quite a few changes for 2025 with regard to the series, and I'm excited about all of them. And really, there's a lot to get into. So we're just going to talk about them little by little and release them little by little. One we've teased a little bit is the region structure. And the biggest change in the region structure is we're bringing back international. It's been 2 years. We've had 2 straight years with no international region. And it just wasn't the boon. By having no international, we didn't see a big increase in Pacific or Atlantic. We definitely saw some of the international guys, the Australian and New Zealanders, join in, which we were glad to keep, but we lost a bunch. We had a core of 35 or so drivers from that region prior, and much less than that now. So would love to get back to that and increase it even more. Some of the future announcements that we're going to have here in the next couple weeks, well, hopefully people will start to see that how that's going to happen and why it might work this time. We'll see. So I'm excited for it for sure.
So combined with the reintroduction of the third region, the best region, of course, what can you tell people about the existing regions and what those race start times and sessions might look like?
So Atlantic will become European again. So it's bounced back and forth naming wise. This year, there's going to be a little bit more meaning to it being named European as opposed to Atlantic. And I'm not going to spoil that tonight, but it has to do with the schedule itself. Atlantic will become European, but it will stay basically the same start time, perhaps 1 hour earlier. That's not been finalized yet, but essentially the same, where it's essentially London will once again become the home base for that region, and the 5 o'clock start time will be the thing, from a London time perspective, as opposed to being anchored to like New York or something. So it will make a difference. And then Pacific, again, we'll revert to Americas. It's same thing. And we are undoing probably what I would say is the biggest single mistake that I've made with regard to regions and scheduling. And that was moving Pacific to Saturday night. We will move it back to its original home on Sunday. And we'll start either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time so that we can continue to get as many of the East Coasters in there as well on a Sunday evening. That was always by far our most popular region in terms of attendance. And that's dropped off over the last couple of years, moving to Saturday considerably, actually. So there was a lot of people that had lamented the fact that we had moved away from Sunday. A lot of people want to have their sim racing on Sunday evening and want to have the rest of the weekend for their family activities. So we're going to accommodate that. We're bringing that back. Our most popular, our biggest region will be back at its home location. And just to remind people why the reason why we moved off of that was so that we could incorporate the disenfranchised Australian and New Zealanders who wouldn't have had a home otherwise when we eliminated international previously. Because unless you're crazy like yourself, you can't really race on Sunday Pacific time because that's Monday afternoon, or it's super late at night. If you run the Atlantic region, that's like I don't even know what time of the morning.
2 or 3 in the morning from
2 or 3
experience.
in the morning on a Sunday evening. Also, not real hospitable. So that was the main reason we made that switch, but it turned out to be a strategic error, in my opinion. So we're undoing that, bringing back America's to Sunday night, international to Sunday night. So international will be on Sundays, Aussie time. So around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock on Sydney time for international on Sundays. We will make sure that we're not conflicting with VA Scops. That won't be a problem, but we'll make sure of it. And yeah, I'm excited about it. Back to its
And I think
original home.
and I think one of the things to also point out, the move to a Saturday US time of the Pacific region to accommodate Australia, New Zealand races will almost work in reverse in 2025, where for those that really did enjoy the move to Saturday night in the US, obviously races happening on a Sunday in Australia, New Zealand is actually Saturday night US time.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
there is still the opportunity for people that liked
Yep.
the move to Saturday. There will still be events running on a Saturday night for the international region.
That's a great point. Absolutely. And when we had international in this slot previously, we did have a handful of Americans that did run it, 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m., whatever. Obviously, depending on the time of year, the start time changes. But yeah, that's absolutely correct. It's a great point. So that doesn't go away entirely. So it's awesome.
One of the things that we could also talk about, Mike, is the website changes
Yep.
around these regions and how that's going to work for people.
Okay. Great point. The idea of it is already visible. So people can see it when you click on a major's website. Instead of having a scheduled link in our top menu bar, you have the series link. And right now it just shows majors, MEC, or Summer Cup. But as soon as the season is over and we announce the schedules for next year, you will actually see America's, European, and international series in that. And the significance there is big, actually. It's really big in that you will register for an event within the region as opposed to registering for an event under the umbrella of a region. So you could, in theory, register for all three regions. Not many people would do that, but you could. It'll make it much cleaner from a website perspective. So people who are from Australia and they come and they see the different races, you'll actually see a banner for all three regions and you'll see the start time right there on the schedule in your date and time. You'll register for it, etc. So the point standings will be all encompassed within that majors series tab. So standings will be separate based on the series. Results will be separate based on the series. All of that. So it'll be, in my mind, I've always felt like the region should be treated as their own separate series, and this is a way of formalizing that.
So just to clarify, if somebody has nothing else to do on a particular weekend and they would like to do all three regions version of the Intimidator,
Yep,
that is possible.
it is. Yep. Now I'm not going to talk about. We have a big, huge. One of our biggest changes for next year is with regard to ringers and how they impact each of the series based on points and awards and all that stuff. I'm not going to spoil that tonight, but we will talk about it soon. This will play into that. So for anybody who's worried about how is that going to impact me, how's that going to impact the championship fight in a particular region, I would just say stay tuned and wait for the next announcement.
Okay, thanks for that rundown, Mike. And yeah, for anyone that hasn't already been on the website for a little while, go check out some of the new structures that are happening on there. And obviously, there'll be quite a lot of evolution around that in the coming weeks. Speaking of the coming weeks, we're less than 2 weeks away from registration opening for Blackout. Now, for anyone that hasn't seen them or been on the event page in the last little while, the coin designs for the top three finishes in class at every split has been put on the event page. Now, Michael, I'll let you talk a little bit about the design and the effort that's gone into this particular coin, but this will be one not to miss. I personally think it's probably the best looking Majors coin that we've come up with so far. A lot of
Wow.
people might think different, but I'd really encourage everybody to go on there. And once you've had a look at that coin, I don't think you're going to want to miss this event because they're certainly going to be pretty popular. So, Mike, what's gone into this particular coin and what can you tell us about the design for it?
Yeah, it is a cool coin, and the images on the website don't do justice yet. We'll have some much larger, detailed images. The matter of fact, the coins are getting delivered to me within the next week. So we'll get some real pictures of the real coin, which I'm excited about. The concept behind the coin was obviously we worked on it together, but we really wanted to embrace the idea of the blackout, of the idea of it's a night race and it's an all night race and the challenge behind that. When we did the poster originally, we had a big bright moon illuminating the track because that's the only thing you were going to be able to be guided by was that moonlight. And so we wanted to incorporate a moon on the coin. And so there's a moon on the coin and it's pretty cool. It's a 3D feature. It's got a little bit of a translucent color to it. It should be really stunning. It's stunning even in the mock-up, but I think the real deal is going to be even better. Yep, it's black. It's got the stars. It's got the moon. Hopefully it's iconic. Hopefully people love it.
And potentially one that won't be repeated, certainly in the next few years, depending on how events go and what the themes of the different events are. But so yeah, everyone check that out and keep an eye on the blackout page. I'm sure that there'll be communications going out once registration's open for that. As has been reiterated several times, there is no cap on the number of entries. We'll run as many splits as we need to. We're nearly timed to kick that off. Basically, as soon as the Formula Majors round is finished in the coming weekend, which, Mike, as everybody knows, that is the final round for 2024. Championships will be decided. Many accidents will be had if my practice is anything to go by. Coming into this last round, what's your thoughts on how the season's gone and the final event, what you'd like to see come out of it?
Well, what I'd like to see come out of it is good, clean racing with, every individual championship is still up for grabs across the series. So both the Mario Andretti's, all the sportsmen, both bronze and silver, both of the Legends championships, they're all up for grabs. There's literally none of them have been clinched going into the final round. It's the first time that's ever happened. So that's really cool. I think that the quality of the racing throughout the season has been very good. I think that, we've had a little bit of a smaller turnout throughout the year. There's obviously, I always want it to be bigger. I want it to be the biggest it can be, but having it be a little bit more intimate, not the worst thing in the world for people to really get to know the people you're racing and to race them over and over again. And I think that the quality of racing has shown in that. Not every round, not every race, but for the most part, they've been very good. Obviously, the introduction of the live stewards the last couple of rounds has been a really cool thing for the series and something that we're just really dipping our toe into to go full time into it next year. The genesis of that was really the Formula Majors round last year and with the full course cautions and an F1 round and all of that. So kudos to you for really pressing to make sure that we continued that and to make it a permanent part of the series going forward. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the live cautions. This is one of the most fun rounds of the year. I wish it was more popular. I really do. With the Q1, the Q2, the Q3 really mimicking F1, the full course cautions, safety cars that are available and may happen and probably will happen. Throw a complete spanner in the race, which I think is awesome. It's all meant to be as true to life as possible. And I think our event does it as well as anybody when it comes to a Formula race. So Formula Majors, excited.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Okay, well, thanks, Mike, for update on a few things, a little bit of housekeeping stuff there. We're going to be hearing from you a lot in the next few weeks, which I know everyone will be excited to hear. I'm certainly excited for people to hear it. So, yeah, thanks for coming on today. And I'm sure that we'll be catching up with you again soon.
Sounds good.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
With me today, I have essentially the last two standing for the Atlantic Pro Championship this year. There's a fool's hope for the Muppet that's in third mathematically to win it, but really that's not going to happen. So heading into the final round at Zandvoort, it's mano a mano between a pair of extremely rapid Swedes who I'd like to welcome to Inside the Majors, Oscar and Jesper. Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Firstly, I want to congratulate you both on being the standout performers across the season in the Atlantic region, both road and ovals. You've been at the very front of every single race. What do you feel has been your edge over the competition in 2024?
Oh, that's a hard question.
We have experience in other cars and series, driving lots of different stuff. So I feel like us being road guys mainly, and then doing a lot of NASCAR recently on top of that, it kind of prepared us for all different kind of combos.
How did you find the series and what led you to joining?
Actually, it was an old teammate of mine that's, I think, mentioned to me like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just basically been described as a series that runs different cars and tracks each race, and I was kind of instantly hooked, and then just didn't have the time to join. But just hearing the like different cars each race was like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we have some current teammates as well that ran it last season, I think,
Yeah.
Holmer and Donny Blomqvist. And they're just describing it the best series ever. They've said they've had so much fun doing it, so thought we'd give it a shot this season.
I'm glad I didn't put Daniel off when I absolutely annihilated him last year in the Porsche Cup. But anyway, Oscar, you've got 2 wins so far this season, and Jesper, you've got 1, but you've both got a string of top 5 finishes basically all year. But what's been the highlight for you from the major series so far this year?
I would say the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that.
Just amazing teamwork all race long. Getting yourselves to the front, staying there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Daytona was the ultimate showcase for team. Just good teamwork, and it was awesome. Also, Oscar winning on his birthday was kind of top of the cake there, because I think that's my favorite 1-2 that I've had ever.
Yeah,
Even though I
that or
finished
Brands
second.
Hatch.
Yeah,
That or Brands Hatch.
yeah, that was
That was
awesome.
fun in a different way.
Yeah, that was fun in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, the battle between the pair of you in the Formula Ford round, as you mentioned, was simply epic. As the car following behind in third for basically the whole race, I was a little disappointed you didn't take each other out. How do you balance being teammates when you're also fighting for a championship and race wins?
I think for us, it's not a big challenge, because we have so much respect and we're so good friends. So basically, when we were fighting at Brands Hatch, we just laughed each corner, just trying to put each other off, not the track, but trying to put each other off the concentration, because we were laughing each lap and maybe not screaming, but like, hold on, I'm gonna dive here. So just hold your line, please.
Yeah, I think our other teammates, which was also in the voice chat with us that race, was really annoyed because we were basically giggling every corner. As Jesper said, we were just giving so much room and respect to each other that, like, if that wasn't Jesper, I would definitely leave probably an entire cars with less of space everywhere. So that's probably the key to not crashing each other out.
I mean, we basically raced each other like we raced each other every practice that we do. With basically this, just send it and see what happens after the corner, but with a bit more room.
I would say we practice with a bit less respect. We definitely have a habit of practicing with a bit too much sending and not giving space and going for the gap that you should not go for. So we kind of have learned each other's limits pretty well that way.
Yeah.
So that when we're actually in a race, we can back off a bit and not crash.
Well, I think in the final round, you should race exactly how you practice, both of you, because I think, yeah, give the rest of us a shot, hey? Sim Race Sweden Esports, you've locked up the teams championship already, but how did that team come about, and what else do you do as a group of sim racers?
The team, I think it's about 4 or 5 years old. Maybe got established around COVID. And me and Oscar were new here. We started the major series this year, actually in Force Esports, but then we transferred over to SimRace Sweden. So for us, it's quite new, even though we've known the team for quite long.
Yeah, we basically merged what was Force Esports together with SimRace Sweden, like in April or something.
Yeah.
And it's a growing team. It's a growing team, so we thought it was a good opportunity to to join.
And outside the major series, what sort of things do you do as a team?
A lot of endurance racing. We try and field at least a few cars in all of the special events. We're also competing in the Svenska Aries in Ligan, which is broadcasted on RaceSpot, which is an IndyCar series and a NASCAR series every other Thursday, alternating the two of them. And then we also compete in local Swedish championships every year. So there's one starting next week in the Porsche Cup. So a bit of everything. We vary a lot what kind of cars we drive.
Did you race in the Majors 24 this year?
Yes.
Everyone that races the Majors 24 has a story. So yeah, give us your story of the Majors 24.
Yeah, we have a pretty interesting story of that race. So Sim Race Sweden, they also sell sim racing gear. So we have a warehouse in Sweden. So we were actually driving it on location from the warehouse with me, Jesper, and Cedric, basically with one rig next to each other in a small room. So completely new equipment for everyone in, 3 out of 4 of us in our car. Dan was driving from home. So bit of a stressful setup going into that week as we were preparing at home, and then we got to the warehouse on the Friday, setting everything up, basically built the rigs almost from scratch. New equipment for all of us, a few technical issues, let's say, during the race. So a bit of a one to remember, but it was great fun to drive on location and have the teammates around you.
That was absolute kind of fun. And I think we all enjoyed that event, even though we didn't want the race to go the way it did. But I think one of the most funniest things and the most annoying things were the button box that you had, Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was impossible to sleep in the room while you were shifting.
Oh yeah, the downshift. I had probably the most aggressive wheel with the most aggressive shifters you can ever have. Like magnetic, really stiff. I'm a pretty aggressive clicker, I think, as well. So when I was downshifting, it was like echoing through the entire warehouse, and Jesper was in the other room trying to sleep. And all he was hearing was like, dun, 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 dun.
It was like gunshot. Like, you were like, oh, he's on the straight. Don't worry, I can probably fall to him and say, boom, boom, boom. Oh, nope.
And we're driving the GTP as well, so pretty aggressive and fast downshifting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's even adding to the immersion of the 24-hour race, because I'm assuming for for most of the drivers at the circuit in the real race, obviously the noise of the race itself doesn't go away when they're trying to rest. So yeah, you've got the full experience of the 24.
Basically.
Definitely full experience.
So outside of sim racing, what forms of racing do you enjoy watching? And have you actually ever taken part in any real racing yourselves?
Jesper recently did a real life 24-hour race.
Yeah,
into the real world experience.
I sure did. Me and a couple of friends have a Opel, or as you guys know it, a Holden, which it's from 2002. It's an Opel Astra that I bought for about 50 euros. It's an awesome car. For some reason, it's the most enjoyable cars we had. We had like real racing drivers come and take part and drive for us, and they said it's the most enjoyable car to drive, and it was plenty of fun. We did have some technical issues with the drive axle failing and stuff like that, but we did finish the race because one of my friends decided that we don't have a drive axle here at the track, but I do have one at home, and home is 3 hours away. So let's just drive home and back for some reason in, what was the clock? I think it was 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. Like sure, do it. We're going to finish the race. Yeah, it was plenty of fun.
You didn't just walk around the car park to see if there was anything you could put on jacks and steal out of somebody else's car?
We did think about that, but no, nobody had an Opel for us, so that was a bummer. But that was plenty of fun. It's one of the best racing moments ever, I think.
Another person that I interviewed earlier, Brian from the US, he also did some Lemons racing this year and had a great time doing it. So yeah, it's great to hear when people within our community get out and do some of it for real, because I mean, everybody wants to do it for real, right? That's why we're all doing it pretend, because we like doing it. But yeah, real would be better.
No, it would.
Back to the major series, we've recently added live adminning into this series. Whilst that hasn't impacted either of you that I'm aware of in the couple of races so far, what's your thoughts on adding features like that to the series?
I think it's a good feature. I do like live steering and such. It gives more of someone deserving a penalty. It gives them a more direct penalty, and not just, oh, you lose 5 places. Too bad.
I totally agree. And it also removes the, like, you can still fight for your position even though you should have a penalty, and then you will just get it after the race. It's more realistic as well to have them be live.
Finally, I'd like to get a prediction from both of you separately, taking your team caps off and your teammate caps off. Going into the final round, how do you think it's going to pan out? Who wins? Will you be shutting each other out of setup work and practice this week, or in the lead up to it? We go in with a slightly different attitude.
I think we have agreed a while back that let's still be teammates. But as far as the championship goes, we have wrapped up the team championship. We're basically going to be 1-2 no matter what, unless we wipe each other into the barrier on the first lap, which
Yeah.
Yes,
should
please.
happen. But So I think we have agreed that we will work together, but then when the racing comes, all gloves are off. Let's fight it out. And I think if everything goes smoothly for us, Jesper will walk away with it. That's the kind of track and car that he will be super fast in for no reason other than him being super fast. Me looking at the data, being confused, and then he's off in the distance. But who knows? It's a tricky car, tricky track, traffic, long race. So we'll see.
Yeah, basically, me and Oscar have actually talked about this a few times. I asked him, like, if it goes down to the final race, it's just us two. I am going to race you. You are going to race me. So we both know that whatever happens, we are going to race each other like we do in practices. And something, as you said, that we have agreed on is we never hide anything from each other, because that just kind of ruins the fun for all of us. So it's better to be all of us fast and lose fairly than just hide something and kind of destroy it.
Yeah,
Take
we
it
will
too
never turn off telemetry sharing or anything like that.
serious. No.
That's not our style.
For anyone that isn't keeping up with the standings, the gap is 23 points. A win from either driver wins the championship, because it's 25-point difference between first and second. Different permutations if both finish further down the order in terms of how big the points gaps are. But if the rest of the season's anything to go by, there's a very good chance that you'll find both Jesper and Oscar at the front come the end of that race. Thank you both for your time this evening, and good luck for that last race. We'll all be watching intently to see who gets the job done, and may the best Swede win.
Thank you. I thought it was 33 points, so I'm even happier now. But I think we all can agree the best moments of the majors is the intro music.
Oh yeah.
Every weekend,
yeah.
every race, we just all time for music. The jams. It's
We
fun
don't
because
look forward to the race. We look forward to the drivers' meeting so we can listen to music.
Mike will be very happy to hear that you like the music. He puts a lot of time into finding what he thinks is the most appropriate music for each event.
tell him never stop the music. Never. That's why we returned. Give him big props from us. Yeah, we're a big fan.
We're sticking around because of the music.
Whatever he's paid, it's not enough.
I don't think he's paid.
Oh, I can pay him.